Want to help support the channel? Then why not check out the merch that's available from the links below in the description. Help out the channel and get more phenomenal stuff for yourself. And now with that, let's jump straight into the video. Hey Ranger Nation, welcome back to another video, and today we have a pretty late video to the table, which is the Zenkaiger episode 49 finale, the final episode in Zenkaiger. Now, I've been doing this, I've been watching and reviewing every single episode with my friend Bryn, and we've been doing it on Henshin Hangout. But I kind of really wanted to make a separate video for this. I'm giving kind of my thoughts on it, because I know I did talk about it in there if you've not seen it, but I know some people haven't seen that one. I wanted to talk about my thoughts on this one, and also hopefully at some point there will be a massive Zenkaiger video that I want to write and kind of talk about and go in depth. But I'm giving my final thoughts on episode 49 right now. So if you like this sort of content and you want to see more, hit the like button, hit subscribe, as well as that cheeky notification bell to be notified when more videos drop. And let's jump straight into it. So first of all, I generally think that this episode, episode 49 and 48 were swapped. Like, it should have been 49 should have been 48 and 48 should have been 49. Because I feel like this was a filler ending and I didn't like it that much. It felt like a lot of characters had the kind of progression where you saw, like Stacy, he had his complete redemption, and this was the final episode where it's like, oh, he's actually done something more. I do think that they dropped the ball on this a lot, and it just didn't feel like a proper ending. And it felt, for me personally, to kind of watch it and go, I don't have that that moment where it's a full year has gone and we've had like a great ending. 48 I absolutely loved. I thought it was a great way. It felt something a bit different. It also kind of felt like it wasn't a last episode, like there was one more episode, and by the time this comes out, you know, Don Brothers has been out probably for the first or 2 weeks. I know on Twitter right now everyone's talking about it. I want to see it. I'll probably see it in a couple of days, but I feel like there could be one more episode leading in, not just what we've got now, and that I think is a bad thing. When Kaito won against the god, or Kami, we're going to call it Kami because obviously that's what he mentioned, because obviously Kaito won, it felt okay, but it didn't lead up in my eyes. It was just kind of really weird where you have him playing rock paper scissors. Now again, that's a very Kaito way, but it just felt really out of the blue later on, like the way that the characters were all fighting. So in this episode, basically what happens is everyone has kind of forgotten who, like, the other worlds, and I hated that they did this, because to me this was a storyline that they did previously when no one remembered, and it was where like that monster Time World or whatever, basically he was a clock monster and he was able to rewind time to the point where no one would remember, and then they kind of brought it all together. And it felt like they were just kind of rehashing that particular story, which I didn't think was a good one. The way that the last episode shows is like Kaito's been taken over, because that's the whole premise. So I would have loved it if it was all his friends fighting him, and it was saying like, oh Kaito, you've got to remember, you know, what this happened as they were throwing punches. You know, it could have been the stuff where Gowon had a conversation with Kaito and he was like, you've got to, like, the other Kikunoids and stuff like that. That to me would have felt more kind of in there, rather than say Kaito fighting Kami to then fight, like he could turn into all his friends and stuff like that. I felt like that was just like, it didn't, when I was watching it, I just didn't feel like this would have been a really cool thing. So to me, I was just more kind of really off put. Like it would have made more sense to kind of do something like that and have everyone versus Kaito as a, if you can defeat me, you can knock me down, or if you can, you know, do this, land a massive hit or something, I will give Kaito back. And I feel like that would have been a more better, like they could have quickly come up with an idea or just gone for it and stuff like that. But I feel like this didn't do what it should have, and that's it. I mean, again, this is just my personal opinion. As I mentioned before, the previous episode does feel like it was the last episode, and you know, you had the whole thing where, you know, the main Baratashimo, he was destroyed, but he was able to attack the Rangers by using their powers. I felt like that worked more, and that made me go, oh my god, like it's that kind of really random thing. I still think that the power blaster from Danger, as well as from my Power Rangers, is the most powerful one, considering how much damage it did to Kaito and Jiren. As I said, I felt this storyline had been done before. I'm just reading what I've put down, because there's quite a few kind of comments and stuff like that. I felt one thing that I noticed is the one thing that you see with at the end when everyone's kind of happy, and you see Flint and you see Zox. So you see Ricky and Cortana. I keep calling it Cortana, or Cortana, whatever. And the fact that they were kids again, obviously the curse has been broken. It didn't feel. It just felt like, oh, we've got to show you that this curse is done. It didn't have any lead up, and I didn't like that. When watching Lupin Ranger versus Pata Ranger, all the way through, you have like the Lupin Red, and then the others not liking like what's been going on. Obviously, they've got to gather all the Lupin treasure to kind of like move forward, to kind of like grant their wish to do it. And all the way through, this is the main thing. And at the very end, you see that the brother, the friend, and the fiance all get released from ice. And right now, like, you know, there is an emotion that literally stirred a massive emotion in me to be like, oh my god, like I wasn't gonna cry, but there were tears forming, and that was a massive, big kind of emotional thing. And I'd watched that all the way through. So I wanted the same sort of thing, where, you know, maybe at one point that, you know, the SD versions of themselves turn back into kids, and they're like, oh my god, like, you know, the emotion that would be on Zox and Flint's face, rather than just a, hey, here we go. Now, it kind of got to me, because I just felt that there was nothing there. It was more like, okay, we've just like solved that one. Oh wait, we can turn them back with the gears because of this. And it just didn't sit right. And I just felt like this was a major thing that you've had with Zox and Flint all the way through, that I've wanted to kind of bring this forward, and it was just dropped, and it was and we've had this, and I absolutely just hated it completely, because there was nothing there. And I didn't feel like I was like, oh, they've tied that up at least. It just doesn't make sense. It would have been easier when you saw Zox fighting, I think it was SD World, and it was on his own, or he turned things miniature or whatever. Like, that had more emotion, and that could have been the turning point to actually have it, like, you know, SD World's been destroyed, and now now the curse has been lifted, and there's emotion because it was a raw moment. But it wasn't in this, and I felt like that was a really bad thing. I felt like, again, this was just a filler episode. Wait till episode 50, it's out next week, which obviously it isn't. And again, why did they finish at 49? You think you could have gone to 50 at least. Oh well, maybe there was meant to be a 50. But I felt like this wasn't an ending. I didn't like the breaking of the fourth wall. Like, it just felt very out of place, where Kaito's like, hey, you know, I hope you're doing well. We're off on an adventure. Make sure that you do well. I'm counting on you, type thing. To me, it's just so out of character. Like, you know, it's like he's addressing everyone, saying like, hey, I've been doing this for a long time. I'm now saying that. If that was part of his character, I would be more okay with the fourth wall breaking. But it just felt really out of place. I'd rather he would have said like, anyone watching us right now, you do okay. And that would be cool, not just addressing the camera. And when Bryn said like, oh, maybe he's like saying that to the world, it wasn't, because he's never done that. Hey, like, hey world, do this. It was more, he was talking directly to us rather than anything. And I was just like, why would you break the fourth wall like that? It got me a bit. I was just like, what the fuck? I feel like Stacy got friends. I feel like he's going to be a big part in the film coming up. I felt like the people are now looking to him, and that's what he wanted. But in all fairness, I didn't like this. I just, like, it felt like Stacy got everything in this and Kaito didn't. And, you know, it was more kind of, he was a cheerleader in this or whatever. I just didn't feel like Kaito got that kind of reward. It was more Stacy got more of a reward for it. The way that I could see this at the very end was the Zenkaigers are out there going to different parallel worlds and doing different things. And that's the main point of it. That is the main thing that they are doing, and I could only see it like, you know, they're going to jump into another world and help save, and they're out there doing stuff, traveling each day to do stuff, and that's the only way that I could see this. But in all fairness, I just generally think that this wasn't a good episode to kind of end on. Like, I know a lot of people are different and they're thinking like this could be perfect, but it just felt like it was a bit boring and it just a major letdown. But then I've noticed that when Zenkaiger has like really good episodes, the next episode's always a letdown. So I kind of knew what was coming. I just didn't like what was being done in this one. So my final thoughts on it is Zenkaiger is a really fun series. Like, I actually generally have enjoyed some parts of it. But the music is goddamn amazing, and there are some elements which I think has worked well. I love the suits, I love the Kikinoids. I think that this was a unique thing, and I would love to have seen something again. So that to me was perfect. But the whole series is just been ups and downs all the time, where I think that they could easily have done better. But again, we won't know. So we've got Don Brothers. I've not seen episode 1 of, at the time I'm recording this, which what date are we on? We're on the 6th of the 3rd, so I've not watched it yet. So hopefully we'll see what it's like. I've seen images, I've seen some stuff, but I really want to watch the episode. So I'm not going to review it every single week, but I will give my thoughts on episode 1, and I'll be reviewing it with Bryn at some point. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there.
チャンネルをサポートしてくれてありがとうございます。チャンネル登録、高評価お願いします。以下のリンクから商品を入手することができます。